there's an identity crisis,
Talk about it.
and we have people who just truly don't know who they are, and it's honestly just confusion together. Confusion about if I'm a man or if I'm a woman. Confusion, how I should dress. Confusion, how I should look, and it's causing an identity crisis.
Yeah.
And God gets put on the back burner there, right? So I think that's something that's been heightened, just in this generation.
What's up? What's up? What's up? Welcome. You are here. You are listening and tuned in to the Couples Lounge show. It's showtime. It's showtime. Guess who's back again? Well, they don't know.
They don't know.
Well, they gonna know as soon as we walk in. So, y'all, we're about to have an amazing show. This show is brought to you by We Will Win, where we support individuals and couples in transforming their life and their relationships. If you know you need support, book a session. You can go to www.thecoupleslounge.com. I'm just going to send you there because that's the easiest and simplest way to change your life. So you're ready?
Let's do it.
So we got these amazing individuals on the show today. First time having singles in the building. This is the first show with singles.
Here? Oh, wow, it is.
In the building. So
It
we got
is.
Miss Jazzy. Say what's up to the
Jazz.
people.
What's up?
And then we have Mr. Jared in the building.
Hey guys.
Right.
So y'all, we're about to have a good show.
Yes, ma'am.
Got some questions for y'all.
Ready.
All right. We ready?
They say the dating streets.
Okay.
The
All right.
dating streets. I heard one of my spiritual life coaches sisters say she heard that is pee and fentanyl
Oh.
in the
In the
water.
dating pool.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Absolutely.
So I was
That's
like,
something to get.
dang,
Right.
is it like that?
Yeah.
So I want to ask y'all this. We're gonna just start it off like that.
Hold on real quick.
Okay.
First of all, if you have not hit the
Oh, I got
subscribe
excited,
button,
y'all.
hit the subscribe button and share it with a friend. I got your back, boo.
All right, all right. So, when it comes to dating, being single, and people saying it's not a lot of options, it's not a lot of good people out there, this, that, and the other. Is that a true statement, or is that based off of somebody's mindset and what they are attracting? Is it proximity, your location, and where you going, or is it just not a lot of good people out there? What's y'all take on it?
Would you like to go first on that one?
I'll let you go first.
Okay.
Okay.
A lot about to say about that one. Yeah.
Okay. Well, for me, I think it's a little bit of everything.
Mm.
I think dating pool has a little bit of something in it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's where you're dating. I think it's what you're looking for when you're dating. But then I do also think there is not a whole lot of quality men in the locations that they're looking for these people at. So if you're going to, lounges and things like that, that's that type of quality person you're looking for. That's probably, not necessarily your soulmate, maybe. They're going to
Right.
be there.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's a little bit of everything.
So wait, I hate to cut you off.
Yeah.
But you said men. What about the women? Is there a lot of quality women in your opinion in these locations?
Oh, well, speaking from experience for me, I'm very qualified women. I
Right.
think I got a lot of good qualities there.
Right.
But as far as my friends go, I'm going to be
Yeah.
honest. Some of them, no.
Okay.
But some of them, yes. Some of them, absolutely, they got good quality. But again, I think it's where they're going, what they're looking for, and also the expectations that they have on these men. A lot of women are looking for a list.
Right.
They're going based off of a list. I need this credit score. I need this height. I need this look. I need them to dress a certain type of way. I need a certain caliber of man,
Right.
but they don't have a lot of the same qualities in themselves that they're looking for in the men.
Yeah,
Right.
she done
Yeah.
said a whole word.
Yeah.
A whole
Right.
word.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, brother. Jared, what's your intake?
Yeah, so regarding there not being a lot of options or quality options in the dating pool, you know, I I would say one, for anyone listening, there are definitely quality men of God out there who do want to be committed to you in marriage.
Okay.
One, that they are out there truly,
Mhm.
and I'm
Right.
one of them.
Mhm.
Um, Now, as far as there being a surplus, unfortunately, I'm not. I would say I veer towards the side that there's a shortage. Um, from my experience, just discipling men, being around men, and in the calling that I have, I'm just being a fisher of men.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of men who may believe they're ready to be committed in a marriage, but
Right.
aren't exactly quite there yet. Um, and I think you really do need to focus on how Christ loved the church in order to be a successful husband.
Mm.
So just some key things that I think may be missing. Um, now, not just to beat on the men here.
But you're a fisher of men, so I expect you to
But
talk
I
to
work a
men.
lot with men though, but
Yeah.
Right.
but I have a broad community, right? So women, as far as the women that I'm in community with as well, a lot of times they aren't ready to be wives in the ways they think they are
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
currently right now, especially at a young age. They don't understand the sacrifice, the submission, the dying to yourself daily that it takes to be a wife, a Proverbs 31 woman.
Mhm.
And my job is to find a wife, but a good wife, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And the Bible says, of course, if you find a wife, you obtain favor from the Lord,
Yeah.
and I want the favor.
Yeah.
Right.
But it also says in verses before that, who can find a good wife? And that's other translations mean it gets a difficult task, and she'll be more precious than rubies and things like that,
Mhm.
right?
Right.
Mhm.
Right.
So that means like this is not some easy task.
Right.
I'm looking for treasure.
Hmm.
I'm in the pursuit of treasure, right? And
I
it's
like
not
that.
everywhere. Treasure's not everywhere.
That's
Right.
true.
I
So
like that.
everything walking around that's shining is not
Gold.
a good wife, and it's not
Absolutely.
gold. So
Mm.
Ooh, wow.
Mm.
I like that.
I do too. I
Y'all,
do
y'all
too.
ready?
Yeah.
Are you ready for a show? I hope y'all are tuned in. This is one of those ones that are for the single. But I just in their conversation, I can tell us as married people, we're gonna be able to walk away with some as well if we are willing, if we open up our heart, open up our minds. Because I just feel like sometimes even we get in marriages, we done got with this person, and you got with them when you was at a state in your life, and now you looking at them like, what, who, what? But you chose him and her. So y'all tune in, listen, stay close. Do you date? Should people be dating with destiny in mind? Like, am I looking for somebody that can go on this journey with me for where I know God is calling me? Or you date for the right now moment and we'll get there. What's y'all's?
Never in the right now moment. The right now moment can change so much. And if you're not with somebody who's willing to change and grow with you, that's never going to work. I think definitely have to date for destiny in the long term. If you want to be there forever, if you want a long term relationship, you definitely have to date for long term. Yeah, I think that's just pretty much.
yeah, the way I look at that, should we date for destiny or right now? I would say that one, you should date. Well, let me go back. You should, to the best of your ability, know or be very close to understanding your purpose.
Yeah, that's what I was about to
Be,
say. Yeah.
before you take on just to date anyone or be in a committed relationship, and that'll just make things easier.
Mm-hmm.
Now glorifying God is something we're all called to do,
Mm-hmm.
but we have specific callings, specific missions, specific assignments, and if you can, to the best of your ability, already be walking in your purpose
Mm-hmm.
confidently,
Mm-hmm.
and someone comes along that can assist you better glorify God in what you're doing, that's the ideal situation I think you want to be in.
But so many people don't know what their purpose
Yeah.
and their
Right.
calling is on their life. Like, I do trainings. Like, people don't even know who they are.
Right.
They will attach titles to their names before they talk about their beingness.
Yeah.
And so, what do we do if I don't know who I am?
Right.
If I don't know what my purpose is in life. What should I be doing right now as a single person?
Finding that,
Yeah,
finding
yeah.
yourself, being a whole complete person, and a lot of that could be trauma, identity issues, things like that. But we all know that we find our identity in one man, one place, or one God, and that's Christ, right? So a large part of that is just making sure you're confident in your identity in Christ. And I think in the culture right now, just unfortunately being more involved in it due to my age, there's an identity crisis.
Talk about it.
And we have people who just truly don't know who they are. And it's honestly just confusion together, confusion about if I'm a man or if I'm a woman, confusion, how I should dress, confusion, how I should look. And it's caused an identity crisis.
Yeah.
Um, and God gets put on the back burner there, right? So I think that's something that's been heightened, just in this generation.
Yeah. I think to touch on that too is the trauma side of it. A lot of people experience trauma in their lives, no matter what level of trauma it might be. But if you're not healed from that, and then you try to go into a relationship, you want that other person to make me whole, and you can't be made whole. You have to make yourself whole first before you have somebody else come in to try to fill that. Instead of being 50% going into a relationship, you should be 100% who you are, and that person can add to that. But yeah, I think the trauma side of it is what needs to be addressed. A lot of people have trauma that they're not addressing, that they're not seeking counseling for, things like that. And then they want somebody to kind of come in and deal with whatever traumas they have within themselves. And that's hard for somebody to do, especially if you don't know yourself or how to deal with it. How do you expect somebody else to come in and know how to deal with that? So, yeah.
So have you all had your own experience of trauma, whether it's little T or big T, and was able to identify how it may have shown up in relationships, and then you have done the work, or with your awareness, you've done some type of work to support you in going forward?
100%. I've had a lot of trauma in my life. I've been married twice. In the first marriage, I had trauma from childhood trauma that I never addressed, and I never knew I needed to address.
Yeah.
And it definitely played a huge role in the relationship, and why the relationship failed. And then even after that, I still didn't know who I was.
Yeah.
I was in church. I took myself to church as a kid, that was kind of who I was, but I still didn't know who Jazzy was. And so what that did was cause me to go into yet another relationship, marriage, that didn't even last a whole year because of that trauma that I never healed. And it bled out into the next relationship. And it caused me to miss red flags. It caused me to miss even red flags within myself.
Yeah.
And so that situation, after that last marriage, I really had to go to God on a deeper level, a personal level, and then also had to get counseling outside of that, to really find out what I needed to do. Because a lot of people say, well, that person did this and that person did this, but I had to see, what did I do? What decisions am I making wrong? What am I doing wrong in this relationship or in these relationships to warrant them to fail? And I had to go through that process, and I'm still going through it, to be honest with you. I've healed a great deal over the last 5 years, but I think that's always a work in progress. So that's my trauma. That's how I kind of handled that.
And I'm so glad that you shared that from that space of not even knowing that you needed it. And I'm here to say, and if you've been following the Couples Lounge show, we all have trauma, whether it's little T, big T, we all have it. So for us to think that we don't need to do our own individual work to go deeper, we do.
Right.
If you keep just blaming everybody else, you will never figure it out.
You never figure it out.
You'll
You never grow.
figure it out, and you'll never grow. And so thank you for sharing that and being able to. Another powerful thing, I'm going to be pointing out they nuggets the whole time that they're talking, that you weren't able to notice the red flags in yourself and them because you looking at life from some tinted glasses.
Very tinted, yes.
And so I just didn't know. And in that, you can have some grace and mercy on yourself, and you're not continuously beating yourself up.
I've never heard anyone say that, noticing the red flags in themselves. I've never heard that, but that is great awareness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jared?
Yeah, definitely. I've had, different traumas in my life, but specifically as it pertains to relationships, um, yeah, some ups and downs for sure. And the way, one, I would say they're almost always rooted in fear. Um, and that's not a spirit that the Lord gives us, right? We're supposed to have love and a sound mind, right? So they're one, taking away me having a sound mind, and also taken away from love in general, right? And my chance to have that and seek that more abundantly. So for me, it's been difficult. I did grow up, in a great household, but I also learned, and I would submit to anyone listening, that trauma can be contagious. Um, especially in this generation, meaning that the things we see can strike fear in us, like truly. And depending on what it is, it can deter our actions. So and it's in marriage culture, right? And culture has a big influence on your view of marriage, right? And right now, we live in a culture where marriage there's disdain associated with marriage, meaning that it's becoming something that's not as highly sought after, not highly valued, right? The question is, why should I get married? Is it worth it? Um, and yeah, it's sad to see, but I think that's because of a lot of the trauma that this generation has to deal with maybe their parents. Again, them having an identity crisis, and not understanding who they are, and yeah, just seeing too many bad examples of what marriage is not supposed to look like.
Yeah. And I don't think we as a people realize the impact of our childhood and how it is constantly playing out in our relationships. Constantly. And we can make it about the other person. It is constantly playing out until we say, I want to know, without any judgment, just accepting that something in my childhood is possibly still playing out in my life. Not just my relationships, but relationships tend to bring it out. And go on a journey of, let me just discover. I did a video on Facebook talking about coming out of darkness. Like, why do we want to stay in darkness I don't know. Why do I act like that? Or why do we want to stay in darkness?
Yeah.
And the word says, people that want that's because that's where evil. I don't want you to know my stuff. We did a video about secrets, a show a couple of weeks ago about secrets. Secrets, that's a bed. That's a bed of darkness. And I just feel like it eats you up. So go on a journey of really discovering what could possibly be showing up in you that's preventing, hindering relationships, and etc. You got questions? I'm coming
Yes,
with some.
yeah, I got a question.
Okay.
My brother, here's a question. Do you find it difficult to find a godly woman? Listening to you talk, it's very evident that you have a relationship with God, and I don't mean just finding. It's easy. You can easily find a woman at a gas station, but I mean a godly woman that has a relationship with God, and that's looking for a godly man. Is that difficult? And I say that because from the outside looking in, if you look at the videos and you see all the women twerking and Instagrams,
Baby, I'm
all
thinking ain't
this,
no good women out here.
it was like,
Like, ain't
man,
no good women.
like, so is that struggle as real as it seems from the outside, finding a woman like that?
Yeah, I believe it is, and that's because I don't want a fake Christian, and I want someone who truly is sold out for Christ.
Mm.
So I challenge even the women that are in the church, right? Not all of them are there for the right reasons. So I tend to be in the spaces where God can be found. So in the church, in fellowship, in community. Um, so those are the places I am. So it's very easy for me to find someone who says that they're a godly woman. That's not very hard at all, because those are the spaces I'm in. Now, someone who's actually
Walking
understanding
it.
what that means and
Mhm.
walking in it, and knows the statutes of the Lord, understands what a Proverbs 31 woman looks like, sounds like. There's certain things that you're a Proverbs 31 woman, but you cuss every other word that comes out of your mouth. Now, if I cuss you as a man, there's gonna be a problem,
Mm.
right? Um, so even trying to hold some of my friends accountable that are women and saying, "Hey, I know what you desire in a man, and a godly man is only gonna pursue you if you're walking like this." Um, so I deal a lot with that. Yeah, I think it is difficult, and it comes back to finding a woman is easy, but finding a good woman, finding a treasure, is supposed to be a difficult task and takes time.
What's a fake Christian?
I would say a fake Christian is someone who hasn't truly accepted Jesus in their heart, honestly. And what I mean by that is that in the church, everyone sitting next to you is not truly there because they understand what Christ did for them and he died on the cross for us, right?
Mhm.
They're there because maybe something brought them there,
Mhm.
which is not a bad thing at first per se, right?
Right.
Maybe there's trauma, maybe yeah, maybe they got invited. But what I'd like to submit is that everyone there is truly not a believer like you may be.
Mhm.
Um, and
Different
that's and
levels.
that's where you see the separation will happen, that the Bible talks about, even within the church. So that's what I would say a fake Christian is someone who is one not living, obviously not living by what the Bible tells us
Mhm.
and how we should conduct ourselves. Um, but also it's a hard posture. That takes a lot more discernment to realize.
Mhm.
So
Okay, I got a question, Jazz. What would you say? How could you help a woman that's watching or listening that has struggled, had the trauma that she may have had, that's afraid to get back out there to date? I believe a lot of women may have been hurt due to past relationships and
Or
reluctant to get back out there.
or
Just a
dating guarded.
yes, dated,
Mm-hmm.
guarded. What would you? How could you? What could you say to help a woman to let down that veil and actually try to seek love again?
Well, one, if you don't try, you're never gonna find that person. If you're
Mm,
staying in the house, that's where you're gonna be. You're gonna be
right.
in the house. But really, first you definitely just have to heal, like we talked about before. I feel like if you have that type of fear, then there's still something there that you have not fully addressed.
Mm,
Because that past situation, if you've healed from that, should be that past situation. It should not still be coming up in your current life.
right.
Maybe some little triggers, maybe it's possible, but I still feel like you're gonna have to figure out how to heal. You're gonna have to go to God with that. You're gonna have
Right.
to pray about that. You're gonna have to go to a counselor about that. And then once you get through that part of it
Right.
and really knowing, okay, that situation happened for whatever reason that happened for. And what I like to say is it always happens for a reason. God puts us through things for a reason, to grow us, to allow us to mature as individuals, to know what not to do in the future, maybe what to do in the future. So let that go, let those traumas go. And then you put faith in God. If you really want to go out there, put that faith in God and know that He's going to cover you. He's going to protect you out
Right.
there. And then ask for discernment so
Mm,
that you can identify those things, those red flags that you probably would not have looked at before you get out there. If you're still scared after that, I mean, pray about it. Get on them knees.
Was it
Yeah.
difficult? Was it hard for you after being married? Was it hard for you? Was it or was it easy to Okay, try it
Honestly,
again.
afterwards, I didn't immediately get out there because I messed up the second time trying
Right.
to get out there too quick.
Right.
So I wasn't looking to get out there. I had no interest in dating
Okay.
for some years after my last marriage, and I still wasn't looking to get out there. Even with me dating now,
Right.
I did not go look for this person.
Right.
I was not trying to find anybody. I felt like, hey, if it happened, it happened. If it didn't, it didn't. I
Right.
refuse to be a three striker.
Right.
I'm like, three strikes, you're out.
Right.
And actually, both my parents have been married 3 times and divorced 3 times. That's scary for me. That's like, I'm not trying to relive that. I'm trying to
Right.
break that generational curse.
Absolutely.
So for me, it's like, if it happens, wonderful. I love marriage. I love the idea of it. I love when I was married, the person that I thought I should have been as a married woman. Right now, I do feel like, if it happens, it's okay that it happens, but I'm not rushing it.
Absolutely.
I'm just enjoying the person that I'm with right now, and enjoying learning each other. So there shouldn't be a rush into that. We're trying to grow instead of, just jump into things that messed me up before.
And I think a lot of people don't. Let me not say a lot of people. I think more people should do what you said. And when you've had serious relationships or just had a moment where your heart may have been broken, to just take a moment to be with yourself.
A lot of people
versus,
do not.
oh, this is over. Let me jump right back into another relationship. And you haven't figured out, how did I show up in that one?
Yes.
That I can change or that I can grow from and that I can be better. And I get it and I understand from a life coaching perspective why people do it, because we all want love. We do want love. And so, but we got to just take a moment to find self.
Yes. People are scared to be alone.
Yes.
A lot of people are afraid to be alone.
Yeah.
I loved it. I love being by myself. I love my peace. A lot of people are scared to be in their own thoughts.
Yes.
That's
so
that
that's
busyness.
Yes.
Well said.
So for me, I think it's a great thing to be in my own thoughts. I love that part of it. But if you're scared to be alone, to be in your own thoughts, if you can't go out to a restaurant by yourself, if you can't take yourself
if
to
you
the
don't want to
movie,
be with you,
who else will be with you? Right.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
Exactly.
I agree with that.
I just had that conversation with well, not just, maybe a month or two ago with my daughter. She broke up with her boyfriend and was hurting, and I told her, I said, baby, it's okay to be by yourself. I said, you are gorgeous. If you're going to just need someone, I said, baby, you're going to get ran through. Guys are going to constantly come at you. It is okay to be by yourself and take time to be with yourself.
Right.
I said, don't be afraid of that.
Right.
Because I see a lot of young ladies, especially because I'm in education, you see a lot of young ladies, relationship. Like you said, they just can't be by themselves. And I'm like, why?
Right.
Like, I'm like you. I enjoy my alone time. I don't mind going to the movies, going, like you said, sitting down and eat. Now, I've never been to a nice restaurant alone. I can't say I've done that. But other than that, Remon likes Remon.
Yeah, absolutely.
So going off of what you just said, would you want me to want you or me to need you?
Oh, girl.
I'm coming. I'm coming.
Ooh,
Would you want me to want you
Okay.
Yeah, good
or
question. Great
need
question.
you?
I want you to want me more, but need me as well. It's a pie. Give me 80% of want me, the 20% of need me in the way of I just need to. Damn it, man. But off the top of my head, I would say want.
Okay.
But I would want you to need me in some capacity.
Okay.
I don't think you should need me in the sense of I gotta have him. I need him to live. I need him to. No, hold on. I don't want you to need me like that now. But I do want you to need me in some capacity. As a man, I do feel like I will want my woman to need me. Like I need you.
Okay.
I need my wife. I really do. But I want you more. If that makes sense.
Okay. You cheated. You gave 2. You cheated. Jared, for your wife, do you want her to want you or need you?
Yeah, I definitely want her to want me. So just I want her to have the desire to be with me truly. Um, when I think of need, I think of a savior, and I don't want to be your savior. I want you to know who our savior is, and that's Jesus Christ, right? So I want you to be fully complete with that confident identity in Christ. Um, Now with the want, I think that it needs to be a healthy want as well. So I don't want the infatuation, which young people, and if you're in early relationships, a lot of relationships start off with infatuation, and you're doing whatever or anything, to satisfy that man or woman. That's not good desire. I want self control, a fruit of the spirit, controlled desire for this person, right? And I want them to truly be able to bring a balance to me, and I can bring a balance to them. So that's what I look for, and we should be on equilibrium, right? So if you think of a balance scale, a lever, right? You have forces on each side, right? And when they're equal, both the weights will cause the beam to be still, right? That's what I think of. I want to bring balance to each side, my wife to me, and then the center of that is a fulcrum, which holds up both the weights in totality. And that center is Jesus Christ. So that's how I think of that. And yeah, I just want there to be a balance, and just we desire each other, but we don't need each other.
Okay. Y'all gonna have to find out Jazzy answer in a few minutes. We'll be back. Join us on August the 17th at Married Chicks and Friends. This woman's conference is going to be off the chain. So if you are married, engaged, or desiring marriage, come and grow personally so you can be the wife that you aspire to be. You want to be in the building. We're going to have a DJ. We got a MC. We got Coach Robert coming and having a man section to let you know what the men think. So ladies, join us again August the 17th in Baltimore, Maryland. You do not want to miss it. If you just tuned in to the couples, I was about to go back to Jazzy, but I forgot I need to. If you're just now coming on, you tuned in to the Couples Lounge show. Lord, we didn't even say our names earlier. I'm your girl, Candace.
Remon, yeah, you was tripping today. You was
I
ready.
get so excited on
Right.
some people, or sometimes. Well, I get excited whenever we have guests, but baby, you didn't catch it either. You didn't say, baby, we didn't
That's
introduce
true.
ourselves.
I did. That's true.
No, okay. Want or need you?
Honestly, Jared hit it on the head right there.
Okay.
100% want me.
Uh-huh.
I do not want to feel like when time goes on, the need, I'm just here because I need you. I'm just here because I need you to help me pay these bills. But we don't really like each other anymore. We don't really want each other anymore.
Right.
I don't want that part of it. I want you to want me. So through good, through bad, through ugly, through everything, want me, want to work with me, want to grow with me, want to heal, not heal, but heal each other, like our relationship, whatever that happens to go through. You gotta want me,
Absolutely.
If you need me, then something happens, you're not gonna want to rectify that in a healthy way. You're just gonna do whatever it takes because I need this from you, or I need, like I said, those bills and stuff to be paid. A lot of us women be needing men to help pay some bills.
Yeah.
We need
Yeah,
men
yeah.
to help get us through some things, but no, we should contribute to that, and we should want our men to be around, and men should want us to be around as well.
Okay.
And so I asked that question because I saw Sarah Jakes on Dear Future Wifey. And I didn't watch, this was a clip, so I ain't watched the whole show yet, people. But she was making mention that her and her husband, I guess when they first kind of got together, kind of had a situation where he left the house, had to go, I guess, drive around or whatever, and came back. And he came to her and was like, I need you. And she was like, I need you too. And from what the part that I heard and what I felt like they were saying was like what God has called me to do, the changes that I need to make. I need you. And so I heard it totally different. That need, it wasn't a, because I on the onset I would have said, I don't want you to need me either. This, that, and the other, give you permission to be lazy. But when she said it like that, like, I need you. Like, I don't want to do my life without you.
Right. And see,
And I need you.
and that's why I said what I said. I didn't say need you in the regards of, like you saying, paying the bills and cooking me a meal. I need your touch. No, you're not hearing me. I actually need my wife touch. I need to hear her voice. I need to sometimes I just want to rub on her thigh. Sometimes I just need a hug. I need it. Now I want it, but sometimes this world can just tackle you, and then when I come home, I just need to just let me hug you. Just let me smell you and kiss on your neck. I need it. Like, I actually need it. That may sound crazy to some folks, but there's some married folks, bro, I get it. So that's what I meant when I need.
Yeah.
And I think just expressing that type of need, like truly feeling internally that you need your significant other, especially if you've been in a marriage so long, that is truly an intense desire. And desires and attractions, they conform to what you consistently choose, right? So what you're consistently choosing, your attractions and desires will follow. And oftentimes when you have been with someone and you have chosen them over and over again, you're going to feel like the day you go without them, how am I going to live on? How can I make it? Because this has become second nature to you, right? So to go without it feels unnormal. I wake up every day and I choose to read my Bible. I choose to get closer to God. I consistently choose him, so my desires and attractions can conform to what God wants me to be, so I can grow closer to him. Those are choices, right? And the day I wake up and I don't pray or read my Bible, I feel like I'm going to have a bad day. Because it's become second nature for me to draw closer to God in that way. So I think that's a great description of need, right? There has to be want. There has to be, right? In this sense, like, we all need Christ, right? But there needs to be a desire for him.
Yeah. And then as you were talking just that last time, I go back to the beginning. Like, Adam was by himself and God is like, no, this ain't good. Like, I'm going to bring you somebody that's a helpmate, however people want to describe it, because you're going to need her to fulfill and do what it is that I am calling you to do. So I think it's the mindset or the heart posture behind the need. You're not needing me externally. It's more of an internal need.
Yeah, hold on. Did you answer the question? Do you want me? You like, hold on. What you? Right. Like, what
I
you
would
want?
say after hearing Sarah, I will go with a need. And then after being together as long as we have, I can now see like how he makes me better. The joy that he brings, he can be on the phone with somebody. And for me to hear him laugh, like a good laugh, I find myself laughing just because I can hear the joy in him. So I would say, like, I need him. And definitely goes to purpose.
Right.
Just with the ministry and everything that we do. I need him for that. I ain't gonna lie. I have pondered, like, I couldn't do the Couples Lounge show without him. Even if, say, for instance, God forbid, something happened, and I can't start this up with somebody else. This is me and Remon's thing. Like, it would just have to end with us. So it is understanding that I need you.
So you don't want me?
I do want you
You
to.
don't want me?
I want you to.
Okay.
I want you
Throw
to.
that in there too now.
I want you to.
Throw that in there.
All right. So Let me see. Okay. If sex is the number one need of a man, every promiscuous woman would have a man. True or false? If sex was the
Ooh.
number one need,
If sex was the number one need for a man,
every promiscuous woman would have a man. Because men always say sex is our
but
number one.
I would say
Sex our
this:
number one
if
thing.
she's a promiscuous woman, she has a man. She's getting that. Unless, let me rephrase that. If she's attractive.
Just because you getting
No, I didn't say she has you. Are you saying a man
penis.
like a relationship?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I thought you just meant being with. Yeah. Oh, okay. Dang, girl. No,
So no.
no.
No. So sex isn't the number one need of a man? Is that what
'Cause
you're
I
saying?
believe some men may feel that way.
A lot of y'all feel that way. Probably you too.
No,
At
the
one
number
point.
one need. I ain't gonna say
I
the
gotta have
number
it.
one
Well,
need.
we ain't done.
No, I do have to have it, but I don't think it's the number one need. I mean, but for some men, they believe it is the number one need when you're younger, 18 to 25 and 16 to 20. That's all we thought about. A lot of men, not every man, young man. At that age, it was more important than water at times. But when you get older and more mature, you realize what that brings. That can bring a lot of drama in your life with this woman, that woman, man, hell no. So I believe it depends on the person, if that makes sense.
And I'm asking that because I know women feel like that's what he want.
We do.
So I'm gonna sleep with him.
Yeah.
And I got this from a pastor. I was listening to him and it was like, oh, this would be a good question for today. But the actuality is the number one thing for a man, honor and respect.
Extremely important. Because if you giving the sex but we're not getting the respect, I don't want you.
Yeah.
Why would I be with a woman that doesn't respect me, doesn't show me respect? You can lose a man real quickly with that respect word or lack thereof.
Okay.
If sex is leading the relationship, what happens when it's gone?
Right. Because it goes in phases.
Yeah.
One minute you could be hot and heated, next minute it's cold or lukewarm and then hot and heated and cold again.
Right.
So, yeah, like you say, if it's leading,
yeah,
you're in trouble.
You're in trouble.
You really are. It has to be more substance in a relationship besides just sex.
Right.
And then a woman is, a woman, when we have sex, it comes with emotions.
Correct.
It is attached. For men, not so much. They can sleep with a woman and they ain't thinking about you the next day. They done went on, but we have attached ourselves somehow, some way. That's why you see women when he done left, now she done lost it, and it's like, well, wait a minute, y'all. He like, we wasn't in no relationship, but you was having sex with me, and I was giving you this, or I'm giving you this, so you ought to be paying my bills, and you did it.
Wait,
you all emotionally attached.
Yes.
When the real thing for a man, number one, is honor and respect.
Absolutely. I believe that.
So how do y'all support the women who she's giving of herself because she thinks that's the number one that y'all want?
You talking to me?
You and Jared, y'all the men on the platform. What help the women
Help us.
that are
Help
giving themselves they're giving themselves because they want a relationship. They want substance. They want to know your dreams and your goals. But y'all ain't giving that to every woman just because you having sex with her.
But if you're I would say this: if you're giving yourself just because of that, then you're messing up. You just messed up. You shouldn't just have sex with me just because you want to be in a relationship. Having sex with a man doesn't guarantee you a relationship, if that makes sense. You're messing up right there. Just throwing it out there real fast and give it to me. Okay, I'm going to give it to him. I'm going to put him on. What? No, sister, you tripping. I would say that just right there, point blank period.
But then question on that too, if you know that's what the woman wants, why are the men sleeping with them knowing they're getting attached? I know if I'm gonna lay down with you, this is
Yeah.
what you're gonna want from me.
Right.
And then I'm gonna be shocked when you start lashing out because I'm not giving you what you want. But I knew that from Jump Street.
Yeah.
So why even put yourself out there like that?
Lust.
Too much control with lust.
Yes.
Lust has
I
too
don't
much
think enough
control.
men have enough sexual control.
Right.
I don't think enough men have the knowledge and realize, okay, now, yeah, I want her. She looks good, but going there with her is a mistake. And to be able to control yourself and control your desires and not to do it because of what can come with that.
Right.
Like when you get older, you realize now the last thing you want to do is bed this woman.
Right.
Or some women, that could be the last thing you want to do. But again, when you're younger, I ain't caring about the repercussions. I want you, and so I'm going for it.
Right.
But when you're older, you make better decisions with your man downstairs. You think up here. You should be thinking with this, and not down
him.
there. Yes.
Yeah. I think that promiscuous women have an internal issue that's a lot deeper than just looking for a man or the physical presence of a man. So I think to your question, if sex was the number one need for men, for men, then promiscuous women might have a chance, maybe. But it's definitely not the number one need for men, especially not a godly man. And just for one to help the women out there in the dating world, do not give yourself to a godless or immature man, because a godly man is going to see that immediately. Because men talk to each other, right? And the unfortunate reality is that why would a godly man who desires to treat a woman right want to be with you in that way if you continuously give yourself to godless or ungodly men?
You said don't give yourself to godless or immature men. How do I recognize a godless or immature man?
Yeah. As a woman, how would you recognize this, right? And in the dating world, the things that I hear, men can unfortunately be manipulative. And manipulation is a real thing, right? So I would say wisdom is important for everyone, but in this area, it's much more important for women to truly look for signs, pray for discernment, understand the fruits of the Spirit and why they're important. And if you don't know them, just look it up.
Go to the
Love, joy,
word.
peace, patience. We can list them. But yeah, so you have to understand what that man is looking for, and don't just get caught up with good words, because even nowadays, men are learning how to speak, and they can say anything. So you really have to look for the words do need to be correct, in the sense of they are ready to respect you, but also the actions, right? And I would venture off to say that in your dating experience, maybe one or two mistakes, right, that are true, maybe misunderstandings, lies, or something, whatever it is.
You saying for him, let him only have one or two
maybe
mistakes?
a few that are true red flags, but just, my point is not to ignore the red flags.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
If you see a consistent white lie, you need to address it, right? Don't be afraid to address it.
I think it's that part, seeing stuff and not addressing it. Like, oh, well, it's gonna change. Oh, it's gonna get better, and you're not saying, okay, I just saw this. Can we talk about it? But it's still, I think it goes back to, I want love. I don't want to ask this question. I don't want to run him off. Like, I saw a question asked, and I guess I'm gonna ask y'all too. When do you ask somebody, do they want to get married? Not saying I want to marry you, but is marriage something you looking for? When in the dating, do you ask that question?
Yeah, if you're ready for that, you ask it immediately.
Immediately.
You ask it immediately.
First conversation, first date.
I honestly, depending on the audience, if you're in high school, it's a little bit different.
No, we're talking about grown people.
Okay.
We're talking about grown people.
So just if you know that you desire marriage, you've been called to marriage, and that desire's been placed in your heart, you shouldn't be wasting your time, because truly, what we're doing here is we're really choosing someone to give our emotions to, and also our time. Um, so if you're not on the same page off rip, then it's truly a waste of time. So I always ask about the intentionality. Usually I get asked the question because I'm the man, but
Yeah.
um
You want to get married?
um so yeah, you should be dating with intentionality. That doesn't mean, every person you date is your wife or husband, but the intentionality should be there. So I would ask it immediately.
Okay. What'd you say?
I say when you are establishing that dating part of the relationship, when you say, oh, I kind of like that person, I wonder if, and then you guys have the conversation of dating. Do you want to actually date? Is this what we're going to do? And we're dating with intention, like Jared said. That's when that conversation should be had. If we're going to date, okay, we're sitting down. Okay, you really want to do this? You really want to see where this goes? Okay, well, what are your intentions? What do you want out of this? What is your long-term end game? And then let's have that established first before we even commit to a date or going to anything. I don't want to go out to the movies and to dinner with you if we're just doing it just because we don't have nothing to do. Well, then let's just be friends on that, and if that's the case. But if we want to actually date and establish something, then we have to set that foundation from Jump Street. We have to say it.
Because I don't believe everybody is dating for marriage.
No.
Definitely not.
Yeah. So, like you said, putting it out there. I just want to know,
Yeah.
like, what are you dating for?
So some people was like, girl, because it was a woman that posted like, you coming out thirsty, you gonna run people off this and that. And I was like, let me tell you something.
Yeah.
If it's somebody that's on the same level as you,
Yeah.
a man that's mature, that's a godly man, that ain't gonna run him off.
Right.
Even if he's not ready for it, he'll be
Right.
able to say, that's not a space that I'm in. He'll be able to articulate it.
Right.
That's not going to run somebody off that
Right.
is either want that or mature enough to, and emotionally mature enough to say,
part.
this ain't where I'm not there right now, but I'm still willing to date to see if this can change the game. Like that won't just necessarily run
And if it
somebody
does
off.
run them off,
Yeah,
then
for
you
you.
ran off the
Exactly,
right
that
thing.
part.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
wasn't the one
So
for
that
you.
way,
Yeah, exactly.
you're not
Good
for
if
you.
that question is running you
Right.
off.
Exactly.
So, Jared, I can, we all can feel that you are a godly man.
Thank you.
So, how do you pursue a woman from a godly man's perspective? We know what the secular man, we know how they pursue.
Right.
How does a godly man pursue so that a woman can know, okay, he might be for real about God?
Yeah, that's a great question that young men especially don't get a lot of information and guidance on how to pursue a woman, or especially a godly woman, as a godly man. We hear about how we should be husbands, how well we need to provide, things like that. But how do I pursue a godly woman, right?
Right.
Well, what is the right way? So I give 5 key points. One, a godly man should pursue you in a way that always upholds the statutes of the Lord. So, meaning I shouldn't have to go around God's will or sin in my pursuit to get to you, right? 2, a godly man will be committed to you in marriage before he's committed to getting you out of your clothes. So, a godly man will never seek to have sex with you or that level of intimacy before marriage, right? Third point, a godly man always seeks to glorify God, even in my pursuit of a godly woman, right? This woman is a good thing. A wife is a good thing, right? And we know that all good things come from God, right? So my pursuit of my wife should directly be aligned with my pursuit of getting closer to Christ every day, right? 4, I think I'm on 4. This may just be for me, but I believe a godly man should pursue a woman keeping his legacy for the Lord in mind as well. And I can go more into that, but
You mean like your purpose?
yeah, keeping your legacy in mind, and that might be more tailored to men, quite honestly. Um, but essentially, there it's understanding that the fruit you bear has the ability to continually bear fruit long after you're gone,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's important who you attach yourself with and the fruit you create, because that's what a legacy for the Lord truly
Mm-hmm.
is continually bearing fruit from generation to generation. Um, I think those were all the points. I might have missed one.
No, I mean, you did good.
Yeah.
You did
Right,
good.
right.
But yeah,
That's
I
how
can go
you pursue.
into them, because there really is not a roadmap to pursue a godly woman
Are you
for a
you
young man.
willing in your pursuit? What if a woman is not there spiritually, but you can see some qualities?
Yeah.
Are
And
you willing to continue to pursue?
yeah.
Good question.
I did miss one. I just, for the sake of the podcast, a godly man will pursue you in public, not in private. That's an important one.
Now explain. We ain't
Didn't
got
mean to
probably
didn't mean to
7
cut you
minutes,
off.
but just
Didn't mean to
hit
cut
that
you
one like 30 seconds to a minute.
Yeah, so I think we touched on it early in the podcast. But in First John, it talks about being in fellowship with Christ, and if you're walking in darkness, you're not. It's impossible to be in fellowship with Christ, right? So it's important that we walk in the light, as Christ did, right? So what I mean is that if He's unwilling to meet your family, your friends, um, to have you meet His family, His friends, for an extended amount of time, then your intuition should tell you something's wrong here, and you're probably right. And unfortunately, in this culture, he might look for something that's personal gain. So a godly man should pursue you in public, because sin happens in dark places, and darkness is also a term that means isolation. Sin happens when you're alone in a dark place, right?
Yeah.
So he should be pursuing you in community, and in the light where people can see him.
Right.
Now, I'm not saying he needs to post you on Instagram 15 times in 2 months or
Oh,
3
yeah,
months.
Right.
That's okay. He should also have self-control, but there should be a pace that you can see in how he's pursuing you in public, and he wants this to glorify God too.
And I would say don't even get caught up in these social media
media.
posts, because
Yeah.
people are posting their people, and that don't mean nothing.
It doesn't mean anything at all.
You know, even marriage people, they can be
Right.
posting and house is full of hell. And so don't get caught up
in
in the
show.
social media
'Cause it's a
game.
show.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
the show. But I definitely love that he should be all right with taking you out places.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
And don't, man, discernment,
That's a big one.
intuition.
Yeah.
Because if we're
Listen
not
to it.
taking you out anywhere,
Yeah.
that's telling you everything.
Yeah,
It should
baby,
it should
man.
tell you everything.
I just
It
want
really
to stay
should.
at home with
Right.
you. I just want us to
that baby,
bond here.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. So
Wrong answer.
And you never been to his house, and y'all
Oh.
been together 6 months.
Yeah,
you ain't never
no.
been to his house.
Right.
Come on, ladies.
Yeah.
Come
Red
on.
flags.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do we? I know we probably only got about 5 minutes now. How do we? It seems to be a lot of tension between men and women. It's always, I got to point out what you doing wrong.
Right.
If you just see it on podcasts,
Yeah.
how do we put out that us going against each other? Because we need each other.
Right.
If we're going to keep multiplying, if we're going to keep doing what God has called us to do, we need each other.
Right.
Right.
How do we get away from this us against y'all or vice versa? How do we do that?
Ooh.
that's a
I
difficult
know.
one.
I know. I'm not sure. I think a lot of people have a "I'm right, you're wrong" type of thing. I don't know if this is on the same lines as what you're saying, but a lot of people are like, "Well, I feel like what I feel is right," and you say, "Well, no, I think you're wrong." And I think it's more understanding instead of pointing out who's right or wrong. Understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
You know, I might not agree with you,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
going to understand and try to I'm going to respect that and respect your understanding and see how that aligns with me and my understanding.
Right.
That's not a beef. We're not
Yeah.
beefing. It's not a bad thing.
Right.
We just don't agree on certain things, and that's okay. But as long as I understand where maybe what I said or what I've done may have affected you. Instead of saying, well, I think what I did was right. Look at how my actions made that person feel first, and then let go of all that other stuff. Let go of the pride or whatever it is that has you on my understanding is better than yours, or my understanding is more valued than yours. I think a lot of people lack understanding when it comes to other people, empathy and things like that.
Oh, that's good. That was good.
Yeah.
Anything different?
So you're saying, how do we bridge the gap between thinking that women are against men and men are against women?
Yeah, you just seen on podcasts, it's always, well, men ain't doing this, and men, and then the moment that a woman starts saying what a man ain't doing, then a man, well, y'all ain't done, and it's like, wait, what are we doing here?
Right.
Because it doesn't seem like nobody's trying to seek an understanding. It is,
I'm right.
well, if you're gonna say this about me, I'm gonna say this about you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I think it's important that the patriarchs of the faith, meaning the leaders, if you know that you're mature, if you know that God has given you wisdom, and you read the Bible, you understand things quickly, you can teach, and you pick up on things quickly than others. Maybe you have some of those gifts, right, that come from God. And I think that it's important that the patriarchs of the faith, young or old, truly play their part in discipleship, because my job is not just to be a fisher of the men race, right?
Right.
It's to let my light shine so everyone can see, right? And to disciple men and women, and point them back to Christ. So I think that a lot of that, the leaders will just have to understand that, yeah, you're gonna come in contact with men who have trauma, like truly they just do, and they weren't treated right, and it wasn't fair as a child. Maybe their mother didn't love them the way they should, so they have trauma when it comes to treating women and respecting women, right? And a lot of times trauma, it can be explained, but just it's not justified, right? So I understand what you're dealing with. It doesn't make it right, but I understand it. And then with women as well, maybe they didn't have their father in their lives, so they struggle with connecting with men, and it might have made them think that the best route is to connect more with women, in a relationship sense. So I think that if you understand how God designed you, how God designed men, and how He designed women, how He designed that union, and you have that wisdom, make sure you speak about it.
Ooh,
Because you never know
part.
who's listening. Your voice truly does matter, and this is something I'm learning, that if you have that much wisdom that has come from God, you have to speak about it, because we need it. People
Yeah.
need it.
Yeah.
And how are lost people gonna
Yeah.
find themselves, right? They need someone who's not blind
Yeah.
to guide them, right? We don't want the blind leading the blind, and that's what we see a lot of, the blind leading the blind, a lot of trauma leading trauma,
Yeah.
and just bleeding on each other back and forth. And what you're doing is you're just spewing out trauma on each other that you have yet to be pulled out of, and it hasn't been dealt with accordingly.
So I hear wisdom, the leaders having wisdom, and you need to share that, and then having understanding. And I would say, ooh, put my time looking like Christian. I would say, like, that was one thing that I had to get to a point of, there's an understanding, and I think everybody it has that in certain areas. You have an understanding, and at times I feel like, well, I ain't gonna say it because I know they gonna feel like this, or they gonna have something to say back. But I'm very clear now that what you are responsible for sharing, whether somebody like it or not like it. And when you are in a space and you see some foolishness, or I'm gonna say foolishness, speak on it, because you are there for a reason.
Right.
So if we don't stop, first of all, see, okay, let me try to understand what you're saying.
Right.
But then too, I got a little wisdom right here. I done been through some things. I know some things. So I'm going to have to speak it. And if you want to crucify me, you want to talk about me when I leave, that's cool too. As long as he all right with me.
Right.
Yep.
I ain't worried about what nobody else got to think. Talk about me. I don't care. So that's just where I'm at with it. So
Okay.
how do you want to end the show? You got somebody should have told me?
Now go ahead.
That was mine.
Somebody should have told me. No.
What? Remon, you know this is at the end of every show.
No, baby, I'm tricky. No, I believe I was mine is kind of touching on what you said. If how men and women are.
Mm-hmm.
What if men worried about men and them getting better and being the right man?
Exactly.
What if women focus on being the right woman and doing the right things that women should do? Instead of worrying about, I can't point the finger and worry about how these men are going to do. Let me be that woman. And if the man said, let me be that man, then we won't be bumping heads. We won't be bickering at each other because I'm too busy focused on me. And if you're focused on you and being the right for you, then dang, imagine how easier the man in relationship will be out there when you're single. So that would be my answer.
Okay. Well, thank y'all. Thank y'all.
Thank
Thank
you.
y'all for
Yes.
indulging us in this single life conversation.
Yes.
So I hope that you took something, you heard something that will help you in your journey as you continue to date, as you pursue love, as you find your person, as the young folks say, my person. So we hope y'all find love. Thank y'all for tuning in. Peace.